Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Let's Talk About That for a Minute. An exclusive interview tonight promoting the release of Jack Gibson's smash hit, finally unearthed fucking album, Evil Mind. And we've got Jack here on the phone right now. Jack, tell our very loyal 7 to 20 listeners how you feel today, how you feel about this album. You know, it's obviously a very great album.
Well, it's good to hear from you, Nick. You know, I'm a fan of all your work. Been following it for years now. You're a great force in the music world. I'd like to go on the record saying that this album, though it's not brand new, I think your mix that you did of it definitely shines a different light on the songs. And when it was released, it was actually never really technically released until it was released on your label, Sun God Records. Excuse me.
Right.
Because I basically just finished it, and then I got caught up in something else, as you know, it happens to everyone. But I never really took the opportunity to promote it in any way. So it's good that you're joining forces with the old friends and local musicians to bring this music to an audience that would otherwise never have the opportunity to experience it.
Yeah, I mean, I really obviously I'm excited to be able to get this thing out there because, well, one, I kind of don't want to be doing much of my music right now at the moment, and you know, I kind of in a good place with that, and two, I just feel like this is the perfect opportunity to kind of like, you know, not so much go back, but just give people a better idea of where this kind of sound structure comes from. I remember when it was just floating around on SoundCloud, and you know, obviously our listeners don't know about this, but this sound is very much like our previous project, our previous band, Gravy Horse. Speaking of which, it sounds like you've got like some fucking fire coming out of your nose, dog. Are you good?
I'm just smoking over here.
Oh my dude, it's like you're blowing it like right into here. People are gonna be like, they're just gonna be like, what the fuck is this?
You know what? I didn't think about the audio quality, so from now on, when I inhale.
Well, because I don't want you calling me and just being like, dude, I hate that interview. The whole thing just sounds like it was recorded like on in the inside of a fucking AC unit.
Alright, well, can you still hear it?
Yeah. I mean, I would smoke during this too, but like I literally like, I think I just like if I smoked another cigarette right now after brushing my teeth with like this. Do you still have all your teeth?
I'm missing enough to make a pirate proud.
Okay, good. Yeah, because I just wanted to feel a little like less alone in this. Anyway, with that said, we're gonna have our own smoke break here, and we're gonna listen to the first song, "Can't Pay the Bills," and "Can't Pay the Bills." What's that?
Yeah, I just put my cigarette out. I'm sorry, bad timing.
Well,
but,
well, you know that you just fucking triggered me, real big time.
This is a nicotine notion.
Welcome back to Nicotine Notion. Don't forget to like and subscribe so I can buy more nicotine.
You see, that's like that would be really awful if that was my podcast voice. Anyway, so "Can't Pay the Bills." Before we listen to the song, Jack, what's this song about? "Can't Pay the Bills." What the fuck could that be about?
Well, the title's self-explanatory, but I remember coming up with a chord progression, and it just had this sort of driving, it was just very poppy to me, and like you said earlier, we were just coming off of recording Let's Just Get This Over With, our sophomore album, or depending on whether you consider the unreleased acoustic songs that we did for after Swallow Your Pride.
Oh, right, I remember that.
Yeah, that was sort of an unreleased. For listeners who don't know, our first project, our first album that we recorded for Gravy Horse was Swallow Your Pride with Mouthful of Feedback, which was sort of more of a heavier sound, I would say, more of just a scream in the night type of an album. But then we got together and we started using new techniques that I had developed over the years of recording, and tried to really hone in on the melodies and the lyrics and get a more stripped down sound. So after we recorded that album, I was still Nick actually was, I'm not so sure how candid you want to get about the experiences, but...
Go for it. Everybody knows a lot worse on other episodes of the show. I have nothing left to lose.
All right, well, during the recording of Let's Just Get This Over With, Nick sort of had a bit of a mental breakdown, and he had to be hospitalized, and they sent him to the loony bin, I guess they would say.
Yeah, I predicted a virus called COVID-19 and COVID-14.
I remember it was funny. I went to go. We had just finished the album, and Nick had really lost his mind, and he ended up getting
naked,
shipped off to the loony bin. Yeah, all sorts of crazy tales.
Yeah, I would have sent me away looking back.
Yeah, there was a period where I was visiting him, because we had just finished the album. We were real excited about it. I was, and I remember his mom was there, and she gave him a chocolate bar, and they took the chocolate from him. It was really depressing. They wouldn't let him have chocolate in a loony bin, like trigger him.
Yeah, and then all the drugs they pump you full of there is okay.
Yeah, they have sort of a backwards mentality, but
like yeah, at this point.
Well, I mean, I've been there. Later on in life, a similar experience, but happened to me. But like I was saying, I was hungry for me and Nick developed this sound that I was half of a writer's duo, but I still had all that drive, and that's what Evil Mind became. It was kind of an unofficial sequel to the sound that we created during Let's Just Get This Over With, missing Nick's very, Nick has a very abstract, witty lyricism that I definitely was missed, but still I was riding a high that, I was able to capture a lot of that feel. And Can't Pay the Bills was basically a very self-explanatory song about how I was spending all my money on drugs and alcohol.
Whiskey and drugs.
Whiskey and drugs, yep. And how my various relationships with girls were affected by that.
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir. So, awesome. All right, so let's just get this over with, and we're going to start listening to the cuts, and we're going to just have a great time. You're listening to Let's Just Talk About That for a Minute exclusive with Mr. Pope, a.k.a. Nick, the kid from Gravy Horse, with my dear friend, Royal Jack Gibson.
Can't waste my time keeping track of myself. I gotta make a lot of money and I don't want any help. Day after day it takes a toll on my health, because I got so many problems and I don't have any wealth. No one to help me. I know one day I'll be wealthy. think she's had enough. I spend all my money on whiskey and drugs. My life is full of evil and I'm always out of luck. I know one day I'll be wealthy. I don't need nobody to help me. Yeah.
For me
Well, I
to,
wanted to promote it a little bit.
yeah, I mean, I
I should be promoting the album, I know.
I mean, I don't know why the hell you would just go through a whole album, like your very first album, and the one thing you do is just kiss our asses of the past. And by the way, we are back to Let's Talk About That for a Minute with Mr. Pope. But no, dude, I love that song, but the one thing I wanted to say is that, like, you were not paying the bills at the time. I mean, not just because, like, you were... Yeah, that's the irony. So, for those of you listening, Jack Gibson is a fraud, a menace, a scoundrel, and a charlatan, just like me, and that's why he's on this show tonight, promoting his new album, Evil Mind, which is coming out with Autumn Sounds next week on cassette. But for right now, you can listen to it on Sun God Records, the talentless Mr. Pope.bandcamp.com. So anyway, the next song that I want to choose for this selection, which I want you to talk about a little bit, is House Crazy Kid, which I incorrectly noted as American Mind, but I really like either way. They're both great concepts, and they're just both great titles. And that really, when you talk about, our band Gravy Horse, which I've talked about on the show before, I think I've said good and bad things about Gravy Horse, like both the dynamic and kind of my one-side effect to it, like my side of it. But, then again, I've changed since then. So House Crazy Kid is a great example of your actual changes of timing. Like you have these great timing changes that go so smoothly, and I think it's probably a tear jerker, and really it gives me the chills that it used to give me when I first heard it on your SoundCloud.
Well, thank you very much. There's an interesting way that I ended up writing, or how I got the subject material for that song. I was reading a magazine that was in my room, and there was this article that said, what would happen if you're a horse crazy kid? Horse as in, what the cowboys were riding. And
Okay.
You can't afford a horse. And I guess the article was about equestrian activities or something, but I was playing with the idea of just getting subject matter from stuff that is around me. So I just thought, what would happen if you can't afford a house and you're a house crazy kid? And then it just, after I just changed that word from horse to house, it kind of opened up all the lyrics for me for the rest of the song to just flow out naturally. And I wasn't reading the magazine for the rest of the lyrics. It was just that one line that kind of triggered my mind to write. And sort of, there's a breakdown in the middle where I start rambling about bank accounts and what's the amount in your bank account. So the song kind of...
But it's beautiful.
It became, in a way, about my father, and I don't want to get too much into that, but, I just sort of thought about how a lot of people are just in this mortgage cycle where they spend all their lives trying to afford a house or, pay for a house, and by the time they end up paying it off, they're dead, so.
Wow.
Well, that was sort of the melancholy. When you listen to the song, there's a real melancholy feeling, and then there's a line about the American mind.
Yeah. I love that.
Television and a bottle of wine, you know. So I was
Yeah.
just sort of
You painted a
just talking
picture.
about that whole issue, yeah.
Yeah, you definitely painted a picture. And also, I think that, would you maybe say that this is one of those cases where maybe you don't know the actual meaning of the song while you're writing it? It takes probably listening back and then kind of having that perspective of, oh yeah, considering that time, it's almost like, you know, diagnosing yourself, but in a way, it's more worthwhile than just like going like me I'm like, say I'm walking like just like, you know, back and forth in a circle and like, oh, that's why I acted like that, because you put these factors in. Do you think maybe like what you just said was really great, you know, really some golden shit? You think that maybe that took some time, you know, or do you think that you went in, or because it didn't seem like you had that kind of mentality, you know?
Well, a strange thing will happen to me when I write one of these songs that I consider to be one of my better songs, that when I'm writing it, it's kind of writing itself in a way, where I'm just saying this stuff and the lines are just fitting and I'm going along with it. And then, yes, like you said, I'll listen to the thing after I've done it, and then all of a sudden it's like I'm singing to myself. I'm listening to this, and it's me telling myself a story that I wasn't even aware of writing when I was doing it.
Yeah, so shit, man, that's you know, I can't even really stress how important that is for you to really even, and oh God, you see, I always fumbling over words, but releasing this now, yeah, dude, no, this is the show, trust me, this is, you know, I'm as nervous as you are.
I love it. I listened to the
Yeah.
to an episode of the show the other week or something, and it was just so entertaining, and I worked up all these nerves.
Oh, that's the problem, is having to be fucking entertaining. Like, it's like, is he really that funny? Because it's just, I'll start riffing, and like, this will be really funny to me, just like this song. It's like, oh God, I hate this song. And then all of a sudden I listen to the podcast, and I literally, a very meta hobby of mine is going back and listening to some of these episodes, not all the way through, but just to a moment. And I remember the other day I did that, and it was like, yeah, this support small business thing needs to fucking stop. Let's talk about that for a minute. It's like, what the hell where was I coming out with that? Like, how did I go from there to there? And then it goes into like, and then I start talking about like the recovery thing, and then like I literally was so jaded. I was like, and then I said something like, "Don't bring God into this shit. Why does it have to be God's problem now? What do you mean let go and let God? Just because you're talking about not being able to afford your fucking Monster Energy drink or whatever it is." Anyway.
Let go and let God.
But you know, I do want you to, you know, keep letting go and keep letting God. And we're gonna have a listen right now to the you know, renaissance of a song. You see, I don't even know. You see, that's the problem. Renaissance of a song. I just am literally just improvising everything. But I'm just saying, this marvel of a song from this maverick of a man, this jack of all trades, known as the Gibson. We're gonna listen right now to House Crazy Kid.
What will happen when you can't afford a house? And you're a house crazy kid. What will happen when you can't afford a house? And you're a house crazy kid. And the mind is only healthy when your neighbor is wealthy, and that's where you live. The American line. Give us the money and we'll give you our lives. It's not my style, did not realize at the time. You have plans to go back, come down and give it a try. What will happen when you can't afford the high? And you need to get high. What will amount? What's the amount? What did you count? The amount? What did you count? The amount?
We're going to start you up a bank account, boy.
The American mind, television and a bottle of wine. You know I'm sorry for things I haven't done. Only I could change my life, I'd be a better son. I don't care if the future doesn't come. At least I'm alive. I don't care if the future doesn't come. At least I'm alive. I'm going to die happy, knowing everyone I love is alright.
And we're back with the Let's Talk About That for a Minute exclusive with Jack Gibson. We want to just mention real quick about our label, our labor of love, our label of love, the People's Love Cult label, Sun God Records. And as soon as we get this microphone hissing and pissing less, we're gonna talk, or maybe we'll just keep this going. All right. Let's just try changing that. We changed that setting now. We got more gain on it. Hello, testing. We're here. Jack Gibson, Mr. Pope. Let's talk about that for a minute. We're going to talk about another song, but I first want to mention, our label of love, Sun God Records, where you can find all this beautiful music for free. For the very low price of free. The Talentless Mr. Pope. The Talentless Mr. Pope.bandcamp.com. And now I have to hold up the microphone so it hisses less. It's literally like trying to fucking light a fire in a cave, it feels like, out here in Temecula, wine country, enough about all that shit. So, the next song that we want to talk to you about is Sensational Dream. You said this is, like a drug song, Jack?
Maybe this happened to you. Well, I know this happened to you. I know it happened to me. Happened to a lot of my friends. When we were younger, we were being sold. We all had this fascination with psychedelics. We had taken mushrooms, and we had read about all our heroes who had done acid.
Right.
So we were really interested in acquiring it at any cost, at whatever it took. So a lot of us were sold acid. We were sold tabs of acid that were not actually acid, and a lot of people had a lot of bad trips, which is sorry to say that you have to eat 100 tabs of whatever chemical you're not sure what it is just to get a couple tabs of the real thing, which is kind of what happened to my generation for a while. And this song, Sensational Dream, the lyrics are kind of, I was trying to give this song that same sort of strange feeling that I got when I would ingest these chemicals, where I wasn't sure if I was having fun or in a nightmare, so trying to emulate that nightmare vibe, and also the lyrics touch on how you think that you're having this great, wonderful trip, and everyone will tell you. There's a lyric in the song that says it's so unbelievably clean. That's what these pushers would tell you. Oh, it's clean, man. It's unbelievably clean. Yeah, and that's why I use some of those phrases in the chorus, because that's you can hear it in the song because you hear this person preaching about how it's a sensational dream and it's unbelievably clean, but the song kind of sounds like you're in the Twilight Zone or a nightmare of some kind or a bad horror movie, but that. It's all just and also I was experimenting with different recording techniques
and different drugs.
And well, I'd be a liar to say that the drugs didn't play a very big role in me writing in the subject matter. But I will say this: when I was writing the songs, most of the time I was just a little stoned.
Yeah.
And but the subjects that I'm talking about and where my mind was at was a direct result of all the hallucinogens and all those fun uppers and downers and benzos,
yeah,
opiates and whatnot. Even though I hadn't really touched upon that harder stuff at that period of time.
Yeah, I'm definitely no stranger to that myself, and I'm definitely relating to. Yeah, well, I mean, look, I mean, have you heard my music? And you can definitely hear that. There's that part in the song where. And I again have listened to this album since I mixed it, not too much, but probably for like the third time today in the country. And dude, it was so fucking beautiful. Like it was literally like I felt it was such a quiet atmosphere. And there's like even though there's this this flooded intensity in your lyrics and in your performance, there's just this. There's this quietness to it. I wish it was at times I had mixed it a little louder, but there were some tracks and not this one, but there were some tracks in particular that I was like, I think that I need to maintain something that, I need to kind of not touch upon too much because, you engineered this, you know what I mean?
I did the first mix, but what a lot of people don't realize is I recorded all of these songs on a webcam. And when I was mixing them, I was using crummy computer speakers where you would have to jimmy the jack.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'd have to jimmy the jack to get both of the speakers to work. So a lot of these songs were coming out of, and I would mix the right and left regardless, even if the left speaker wasn't even playing.
Right.
So so when Nick, and I thank you very much for taking this project under your wing and sort of
oh, hell yeah.
And giving a chance for some of those quieter parts to be equal with some of the parts that overpower. But like I said, I was younger when I did the tracks. And we were still learning, we're still learning.
Hey, don't worry, it's no Mr. Snatch. I'll tell you that right now. You did not make.
Well, what is?
Yeah, and nothing else sounds like that. So I guess it's like we're two wounded veterans. You got the Purple Heart, but I lost my fucking legs, and we can still sit at the same table. Yeah, let's without further ado, let's put on Sensational Dream, Jack Gibson. I mean, we know who this is. We just, here on Let's Talk About That for a minute. We can't stress it enough. You're going to love this album. Check out Autumn Sounds. Sun God Records and Autumn Sounds putting together. No, Autumn Sounds is putting the cassette out, so, big shout out to Steven at Autumn Sounds.
Oh, yeah,
he's putting your cassette out.
Autumn Sounds for putting this out because
God knows I would not have the time and resilience to really like take all that time to press cassettes and tapes, like everything and like dude, every fucking week. I mean, you and me would not be capable of doing that. Like we would literally probably like break the law at some point, running out of money. I don't know. The laws would be broken if we were in charge of that kind of thing, which is why we keep it online.
Yes. The catalog is there for anyone who has the nerve to enjoy it.
Oh yeah.
You love me while I am alive. Hope you love me while I am alive. Hope you love me while I magical scene, so unbelievably clean. Chemical dream, clinical scheme. It's a magical scene, so unbelievably clean. Don't let my meaning take you by surprise. 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 Sensational dream, inspirational scream. What a magical scene, so unbelievably clean. Sensational dream, chemical scream, unbelievably clean, inspirational scene.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Yeah, let me just interview you. Welcome back in a show with no commercials. Let's talk about that for a minute. You know who you're talking to. You know who you're working with. And we're going to talk about how there's some podcasts that briefly, that do some really lame stuff, and this is just not one of them, such as advertising and saying, "Hi, do you like your sneakers? I really like the sneakers from this company that only exists through MailChimp."
Oh my god! And then they're like, "Oh, go to their website / the name of the podcast, and you'll get a 15% discount or something."
Which is not very good. If you really calculate 15% plus shipping, it's like, so you're just having me pay 20 cents less, including shipping and handling.
They're just having you pay a little bit of the rent,
Yeah, and it's really embarrassing, like I said, to incorporate your craft and your art with being relevant, and then but television is like that too. I mean, TV
I know.
TV is all they like. Their advertisers are paying the bills, and and then that means then the list goes on.
Well, where I'm at right now, I'm in I'm not sure if you release this information, but they have it's cable TV in the living room, and
Oh, you got some Roku?
no, we don't have any streaming services. So whoever has the remote is sort of
The god.
gets to pick. Gets it, and they always say, "Oh, you can change it if you want," but they're still holding the remote.
I know. It's like you could change it if you take it from my cold dead hands, bitch.
And the thing is, when you're in that type of a situation, you're all sitting on the couch. You end up watching TV. How old people watch TV? I used to see my grandparents do this. You watch the commercials too.
Yeah, of course.
And the same time commercials come on all the time, and I noticed some of my roommates, they would sing along with the little.
Oh man,
it was kind of funny, but also very scary.
It's the whole purpose. It's really the whole purpose. It's like, this jingle is really gonna have people singing along.
Yeah, I bet they test that. They have a couple of people sitting in a room, and whoever comes out humming it,
Yeah.
But, I had that thought actually. I was in the car coming from a meeting the other day, and I had this weird thought of what if you're riding in the car? Because a lot of times I'm riding shotgun or in the back seat. Because of legal reasons, but I just had this weird thought of what if you're riding in the car and every time a song came on, they switched the radio to a commercial, You know, because I notice people in cars will do the same thing, where they'll just be listening to commercials, and it's someone else's car, so I'll be like, oh, God, I don't want to tell them, you know, that we're just listening to a commercial block right now. And then I was thinking, do they even know that a commercial was on, or they think that this is part of, like, this is some new song?
That song was great, but this fucking commercial, bro, I've been waiting for all day. Yo, that reminds me, one time I was actually on a Lyft, and, you know, Uber, you know, a Lyft, like, you know, I wasn't getting a Lyft, like, nobody was, like, putting a fork at me and lifting me up, or,
You weren't in an old-timey hotel.
because I don't know, down the line, people aren't going to know what the hell any of this is, well, you know.
Yeah, well, the words have new meanings every hour, it seems now.
So I'm in the cab, and I'm getting a ride, and the woman is playing music and is like, would you like the music on or off? Is this music okay with you? And I was like, this is music.
What a polite.
She was very polite and nice, but literally, when she was playing the only music on her phone, this poor woman, like, I don't know if she understood the concept of the radio. Like, I think she might have been calling it the radio. She was calling it the music, but it was literally her cell phone ringtone, like, going on repeat, like her T-Mobile. Like, he was, like, are you, like, and I just had bought weed, and I was just like, oh, man. Yeah, I was like, oh, no, this is wonderful. Turn this up. You know, so I really, and I just, it was also such a long day. I think I might have been going from like Boca to.
You might have even thought it was music. Cause you
No, I knew what it was because I had the same damn fake cell phone, like that team, like.
Oh, that's, yeah, it's weird because my roommate, he has the same ringtone as mine, and I looked on my phone, and there's so many other kind of cooler ringtones. I still, yeah, I looked through it one day, but I still leave it on that one.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I just, you know, I like vibrate because it makes me feel like when I don't have my phone, I get the phantom vibrate. That's a real thing. Have you ever heard of that? The phantom vibrate?
Oh, yeah, you know what? I don't know what you're talking about, but I think I might. That's where I'll have my phone in my
Shit is
pocket,
radiation, bro.
No, I'm so used to having my phone in my pocket and my sort of the thing that lets me know the world is communicating with me. I'll feel this buzz on my leg.
Yeah,
And
that's it.
I started to feel this buzz on my leg, dude. And recently, I would check my pocket, and the phone is not even in there.
I know.
And I'm like, I am losing my mind. I'm getting like text messages from a phone that's not there. I think my leg is just having withdrawals from the outside world, you know, lack of communication. It just has this call and response thing.
From what I know, that really is what the shit is. Like, that's, like, from what I know, that's actually, that's, yeah, it's basically, because your body, I mean, it's, like, we all, like, memory is one thing, but muscle memory and, like, how your body, it's really in your body so much, like, what you're used to and what you're, I mean, we're going into Joe Rogan territory with all this nonsense. Let's go back to the music. Let's go back to the music. You know.
Good idea.
Yeah, we don't want a 3-hour show where we talk.
No conspiracy theories here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a minute. Does it the right way. So yeah. So the next song we want to talk about on Let's Talk About That for a Minute is "Guilty of the Crime," which is a wonderful song. You know, it's a wonderful song. It's good like the title track, but it might be better.
Oh yeah, we never. Oh, I forgot the title track.
Well, no, you know what? Actually, they got to buy the damn record or at least stream it.
You're right.
You know, let's keep it at that. So, because "Guilty of the Crime," we got to really get these highlights. You know, I mean, you don't watch Titanic and just expect the naked pictures, the nude scene. You don't just watch Titanic.
Exactly.
You know.
You know what? You're right. This is a commercial. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want you to know that the stuff that we're playing, it's top notch, but the whole other side of the album is the reason that you want to spend your dollar. It's the reason you get your wallet out of your pocket.
Money is going into this shit. You know, a lot of money was spent on drugs, a lot of money was spent on debauchery, but you know, Jack needs to pay his $60 rent. Let's get serious.
Well, I'm honestly a 9 to 5 guy, if I must be candid, and
Oh yeah.
this money, this fictional money or whatever, it's really just a statement. You know, I just consider it nice. None of this money's going to end up going to me.
Well, we don't want it to go to you. We've seen what you've done with it in the past. You're not to be trusted.
Exactly. I'm happy making. I've been working for minimum wage for probably 6 years now.
You know, and you're fed up.
Well, I'm fed up, but the thing is, I don't need any more than minimum wage.
You are an anti-establishment punk who does not play by the rules. And you wear ripped jeans. Okay? Lots of tie-dye, lots of ripped jeans, eyeliner, and you're guilty of the crime. So guilty of the crime. I mean, this is a song about what? The law? The Johnny Law?
Well, okay, this song is actually a lot more, it's not about the law, actually, which is a strange thing,
But it is about...
This song is probably the most musically complex on the album,
Right.
but it still maintains that see, when I was trying to emulate the sound of the album that me and Nick made, Let's Just Get This Over With, it was kind of an unconscious thing, but I wanted to not exactly emulate the sound, but that was a standard that we set. You know, the bar was that high, and I didn't want to make something that was lower, but I didn't want to make something that was pretentious and just overly musical for the sake of showing off.
Because you're not Mr. Pope. That's exactly what that asshole would do.
Well, well, Mr. Pope is, there's no ill words that you can get me to say about that fine.
And that's why you're coming back on the show. So yeah, so obviously, okay. So you didn't want to do something that was exactly like Gravy Horse, but you didn't want to do something that kind of went into territory that maybe you weren't comfortable with creatively. Would that be a fair way of putting it?
Sure. That's actually a great way to put it. And the reason why this is one of the more musically complex pieces is because I had my another longtime writing partner of mine, fantastic musician, and also a member of the Cult, and who he played on a couple of the tracks from Let's Just Get This Over With, and he came back to visit to feature on a couple tracks from Double Rainbow.
Right.
Another great Gravy Horse.
That would be the great Devin Locke, the multi-talented, multi-instrumentalist, monster songwriter, fantastic singer, arranger, composer, well-versed, and he's coming back. You know, so Devin's involvement in this was when Guilty of the Crime. What was exactly what again?
Well, the thing was, I'm sorry, I'm not sure what the question is.
Just talk about what Devin did. What did Devin do with you on this?
Okay, here, let me talk about how we did the writing process. When you listen to the song, it's noteworthy that Devin, a lot of the vocal is his vocal, and if you heard the rest of the album, you might notice that. You might say, this doesn't sound exactly like the voice that's sort of going throughout the record, because I'm singing on the whole thing, but then I have, there's two songs which Devin features on. The second one is Noel's Feelings little track, which we're not going to get into. You're going to have to buy the record for that.
You're going to have to buy the record for that one.
Yeah, but the Guilty of the Crime is me and Devin, when we write together, he also has a lot to do with the lyrics. So the lyrics in that song are kind of about just how your own mind can trick you into living an empty life. And as the lyric states, living for nothing, I'm guilty of the crime.
It is really incredible that, Devin's voice is definitely on there. Devin is a big part of, from day one, from our backgrounds, our origins of recording. He was always recording on his own too. He's got such a great catalog of unearthed stuff that we've just been exposed to. It's just one of those things that it's not over yet. He's always going to be doing this.
Me and Nick are currently doing negotiations with Devin and his team of of people to get him to come over to Sun God Records and maybe get one of his albums, because you may not know this, and how would you, but Devin was an integral part of all of our musical scene. You know, he was right there with us.
In the very
Even
beginning.
though he wasn't on every album, but that's because he was on other albums of ours which are yet to be released in this form. And you know, he was one of the people who taught me and Nick a lot about music.
Of course.
And I'd like to think that we taught him, you know, in some ways.
And just also, when you have that friend who is so gifted and also knowledgeable, but will take the time to, you know, give you the feedback that you really need to hear. You know, he's never been condescending. You know,
you can't bullshit Devin. If you show him a bullshit song, he'll call you on it right away.
Yeah.
But if you show him something that's good, he can't help but just tell you that it's good. Dude. That's why he's a great sounding board. One of the only people, besides Nick and a few others that I really trust, you know, to
Right.
whether are not, you know, because sometimes you get so caught up in your own music that you don't know the difference between a shit song and a good song. And
yeah, that's that. You know, we don't even need to begin with the list of all who those fools are. You know,
victims of self-indulgence.
Yeah. So this is Guilty of the Crime.
Some persuasions will let you down. Never play your cards too soon. Might be something they'll even out. Some things that they say are true. The conversation can take you there. Only if you want to go. Maybe then you'll start to care about the things you want to know. When will it begin to show? When you're alone. When you're alone.
When you're alone.
Will it show? When you're alone.
When you're alone. When you're alone.
How does it feel so far from home? Counting your money, asleep on your throne. Living for nothing. Living for nothing. Living for nothing. Guilty of the crime. Guilty of the crime. Guilty of the crime. But I'm doing fine. You know I'm doing fine. You know I'm doing fine. Guilty of the crime. Guilty of the crime. But I'm doing fine. You know I'm doing fine.
So we're gonna just wrap the show up here, because if we were to show any more of these songs, people would just have the notion, well, why buy the album when there's the podcast? It's like perfectly good podcast, but even better of an album. So you probably haven't heard the album if you've heard the podcast, but we want people to hear the album, Evil Mind, on Sun God Records right now for streaming, coming out next week. That would be, I don't know, March something. Probably around this time that Century Girl's coming out, actually. You know, by your own soul brother, Mr. Pope, your very own soul brother. Legfoot McGee. So, Jack, any final words for our listeners? Any final thoughts?
Well, I would just just like everyone to know that as much as I wrote these songs for myself, I really wrote them for all of you, and I don't want to sound cheesy, but these songs are for other people. They're for you to listen to, and whatever emotions or whatever you get from the lyrics, and however you interpret them, don't take all my input and apply it directly as if there's nothing else. You know, that's not the final word. That's just one man's opinion. This music is really, it's for entertainment. It's a piece of my soul presented to you in a little box with a ribbon on it, presented by the folks here at Sun God Records and Steve.
That's right.
Sounds,
That's
I'm
right.
eternally grateful for giving me the opportunity to show you guys a little bit of what I do, what I used to do, and
Absolutely.
what I continue to do.
Hell yeah. So this has been a Let's Talk About That for a Minute exclusive. Tune in for the next show, whenever that's going to be. But definitely engage yourself. Subscribe to this channel.
Like and share. Do everything that I want you to do for it.
You heard it from us, Gravy Horse. And Gravy Horse is coming back. We'll talk about that next time on the show. So for now, please listen to the album and keep in touch with all of us. Follow Autumn Sounds. They've got a lot of records. You don't have to go through this whole thing when you're on Sun God Records where you have to worry about, oh, maybe I can, do I really want to invest my time in buying this record? There's no physical copies on Sun God Records, really. It's not really going to be that way. So go ahead and follow on Bandcamp and download those records, so many of them for free, and stream right now, Evil Mind, Jack Gibson. But do support music in any way you can, all right? It's your duty, it's your privilege. And, these songs, as my colleague here has just informed you all, they're for all of us. Thank you very much.